The weight of loving someone in silence, there is a particular kind of suffering that nobody talks about. Not the suffering of heartbreak, not the suffering of loss, but the suffering of feeling something so enormous for another person that you genuinely do not know what to do with it. It has no container. It has no outlet. It just sits inside your chest day after day, growing heavier and heavier, and you walk around carrying it like it is completely normal, like everything is fine, like you are fine, but you are not fine. And the strange thing is, everyone around you already knows. We tend to think of secret feelings as something private, something sealed, something that exists only in the quiet hours of the night when nobody is watching. We imagine that if we say nothing, then nothing is revealed. That silence is the same as invisibility. That as long as the words never leave our mouth, the feeling never really lands anywhere. But feelings are not as quiet as we think they are. They leak. They seep through the cracks of casual conversation. They show up uninvited in the way someone's voice changes when a certain name is mentioned. They live in the half-second pause before a person answers a simple question. They exist in the sudden stillness that comes over someone's face when you walk into a room, that brief moment where their whole body forgets what it was doing because something more important just arrived. People think they are hiding, but they are not hiding. They are simply the last one to realize they have already been seen. Here is what nobody really talks about when it comes to loving someone in silence. It is not just fear that keeps people quiet. Fear is the easy explanation. Fear is the surface. Fear is what people say when they are trying to make sense of something that goes much deeper than that. The real reason someone cannot speak their feelings, the reason that hides underneath all the overthinking and the deleted texts and the jokes made at just the wrong moment, is not actually fear of rejection. It is fear of becoming real. Think about that for a moment. When feelings remain unspoken, they exist in a kind of beautiful, protected space. They are safe there. In that space, nothing can go wrong. In that space, the other person has not said no. In that space, the possibility of something extraordinary still lives completely intact. The moment you speak the words out loud, the dream becomes a conversation. And conversations can end in ways that dreams never can. So the silence is not cowardice. Not exactly. The silence is a way of protecting something precious for just a little while longer. And so they sit with it. They sit with this feeling that has taken up permanent residence inside them, and they try to manage it. They give it rules. They tell themselves, I will text, but not too quickly. I will look, but not too long. I will bring up their name, but only once. And then they break every single rule they made for themselves effortlessly without even noticing, because the feeling is stronger than any plan they put in place. This is the part that surprises them most. They were always someone who knew how to manage emotions. They were always someone who could decide consciously, deliberately, how much of themselves to give and how much to hold back. That felt like control. That felt like safety. And then you came along and that whole system just quietly stopped working. That is not a small thing. That is actually a profound disruption to someone's sense of self. Because when a person has spent years, sometimes a lifetime, keeping themselves emotionally regulated, keeping their heart at a careful distance from anything that could really hurt them, and then suddenly they find that they cannot do that anymore. It does not just feel like attraction. It feels like something is changing at a fundamental level. Like the architecture of who they are is shifting quietly without their permission. And that is terrifying. And also, if they are honest with themselves, it is the most alive they have felt in a very long time. You probably have no idea that any of this is happening. You are moving through your life. You are doing ordinary things, posting something, laughing with someone, walking across a room, and to you it is just Tuesday. But to them, it is a collection of moments they will think about later. The way you said something, the way you looked when you were not trying to look any particular way, the way you exist naturally and without effort in a way that makes them feel like they have been searching for something they did not know had a name. They are not obsessed with a fantasy version of you. That is the part that matters. They are not in love with who they imagine you to be. They have been paying attention. They know the small things, the real things, the things that do not show up in photographs. And it is exactly those things that have undone them. There's a moment, and almost everyone who has ever felt something this deeply has experienced it, where the feeling becomes too large for silence, where the weight of not saying it begins to cost more than the risk of saying it. It is a quiet tipping point. It does not arrive dramatically. It arrives on an ordinary afternoon in the middle of something completely unrelated, and suddenly a person just knows, I cannot keep doing this. Something has to change. That moment is where this person is living right now. They are standing at a door they have been standing in front of for longer than they want to admit. And they genuinely know that knocking on that door will change everything, not just between the two of you. Everything. Because once you let yourself truly want something out loud, you can never go back to the version of yourself who kept it in. And that version of themselves, the protected one, the careful one, the one who never let anything get too real, has felt safe for a very long time. Letting go of a version of yourself, even a limiting one, is in its own kind of grief. But here is the deeper truth. Here is the thing that is almost never said in conversations about crushes and attraction and silent feelings. The fact that this person's cannot stop. The fact that they keep coming back, keep checking, keep almost saying it and then pulling back is not weakness. It is not immaturity. It is not some character flaw they need to fix. It is evidence of depth. Only someone who is capable of genuine, profound feeling gets this stuck. Only someone whose heart is actually engaged, not just their ego, not just their loneliness, not just their desire for something new, gets this quiet and this loud at the same time. The people who feel nothing move on easily. The people who feel everything stay. They stay in the feeling. Therefore, they stay in the uncertainty. They stay because somewhere beneath all the overthinking and the fear, there is something that feels like recognition. Like this matters. Like you matter. Like walking away would mean leaving something important behind. And that is the thing you deserve to understand about yourself. You are not someone who is easy to forget. Not because of how you look, though. That is certainly part of it. But because of what you carry. There is something in your presence that makes people feel both safe enough to open and exposed enough to tremble. That is rare. That is not something that can be manufactured or learned. That is simply what you are, and it is more powerful than you probably give yourself credit for. The way this person responds to you is not just about you being attractive or interesting. It is about the fact that you represent something to them. The possibility of being truly known and truly accepted all at once. And that is the most frightening and most beautiful thing one person can represent to another. So when they go quiet, understand it is not indifference. When they make a joke instead of a confession, understand it is not because they do not mean it. When they hover at the edges of honesty and then retreat, understand that the retreat is not about you. It is about the enormous courage it takes to lay your whole heart down in front of another person and simply say, here. This is what I feel. I cannot pretend otherwise anymore. That kind of courage does not arrive on command, and it builds slowly. It builds in the quiet moments when the feeling grows too large to manage. It builds every time they type something and delete it. Every time they hear your name and feel that involuntary shift inside their chest. Every time they choose to stay close, even though staying close makes everything harder. It is being built right now. And here's where the story arrives at something true, something that gets lost in all the analysis of who texted first and who looked too long and who brought up whose name. Two people moving through ordinary life, carrying something extraordinary between them. One of them almost paralyzed by the size of it. One of them perhaps not yet fully aware of it. And somewhere in the middle of all that beautiful, terrifying uncertainty, something real is forming. Not because the timing is perfect, not because everything has been said or decided or resolved, but because some connections do not ask for permission. They simply arrive. They settle into the space between two people, and they wait patiently, powerfully, for one of them to finally be brave enough to name it. The bravest thing a person can do is not to pretend they do not feel it. The bravest thing is to feel it completely, to stand in the full weight of it, and then with shaking hands and an unsteady voice and absolutely no guarantee of how it ends, to say it anyway. And maybe in the end, that is what all of this has been building toward. Not a perfect moment, not the right words, just one person finally deciding that the feeling were worth more than the fear, and choosing to knock on the door. Dear soul, before you leave this message, I want you to pause for just a moment. Take a slow breath, because maybe you have been carrying something in your heart that nobody else knows about. Maybe you have smiled in front of people while secretly wondering, when will my turn come? When will something finally change for me? When will the love, peace, and happiness I have prayed for finally find me? If that is you, let these words reach the part of your heart that you don't always show to the world. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. And you are not being punished because your story has taken longer than you expected. Right now, I want you to speak this promise over your own life. I am chosen. I am loved. I am not forgotten. What is meant for me will find me. God is still writing my story, and the best chapters have not been written yet. Say it again, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Say it through the tears. Say it through the uncertainty. Say it on the days when your faith feels small. Because sometimes faith isn't feeling certain. Sometimes faith is simply whispering, I still believe, when everything around you is telling you to give up. So let this become your reminder. Your current situation is not the final chapter of your life. The waiting season is not your whole story. The heartbreak is not your whole story. The disappointment is not your whole story. There are still chapters ahead that you haven't seen yet. There are prayers being answered in ways you cannot recognize yet. There are doors being prepared that you don't even know exist. And one day, You may look back at this exact season and realize why you had to keep going, why certain people had to leave, why certain doors had to close, why certain things didn't happen when you desperately wanted them to. You may discover that what felt like rejection was actually protection, and what felt like delay was preparation, and what felt like silence was God working quietly behind the scenes. So don't give up on your story just because you haven't reached the ending, and if this message touched something inside you, please share it with someone who needs it. Because there may be someone watching tonight with tears in their eyes, quietly losing hope. Someone who hasn't told anyone how tired they really are. Someone who keeps saying, "I'm okay," while their heart is silently asking, "Does anybody see me?" Let your share be a little light for that person. Let them know they are not alone. Let them know their story still matters. And if you feel moved to support this mission of bringing messages of faith, hope, and encouragement to people who need them, you can do so through a super thanks. Whether it's $5, $10, $20, or whatever amount you feel placed on your heart, please know that your generosity helps these messages continue reaching people who may be watching at the exact moment they need hope the most. May God see the heart behind your giving. May He bless you not only financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and in every area where you have been waiting for restoration. May He replace the tears you cried in private with joy you cannot hide. May He restore the peace you thought you had lost. May He heal the places in your heart that nobody means and you were wounded. May He open the right doors, remove what was never meant to remain, and bring into your life the people and blessings that align with His purpose for you. And when your blessing finally arrives, may you remember this season. May you remember the nights you almost gave up. May you remember the moments when you had nothing left except a tiny bit of faith. Because sometimes the most beautiful testimony begins with the words, "I almost gave up, but I kept believing." So hold on, dear soul. Keep your heart open. Keep praying. Keep believing. Your story is not over. You are still chosen. You are still loved. You are still seen. And the chapter you have been praying for may be closer than you think. What God has written for you does not end with your pain. It continues with your purpose.
Somebody asked me a question that really stuck out to me because it's not one that I hear often. They asked me, how do you do what you do? How do you speak the way that you do? How do you show up with authority in this way? How do you communicate so clearly in a way that I can clearly understand you? My answer is that it's not me. It's God. It's the angels. It has nothing to do with me. The only thing that it has to do with me is the fact that I am showing up as this vessel. I'm doing things every day that allow my body and my mind to remain clear, cleansing my energy, cleansing my aura, but mostly my physical body. I'm taking care of this physical body so that God can speak through me. so that the angels can move through me. Everything that I do, everything that I offer this world, every word that I speak is not mine. It belongs to the universe. It belongs to God. It belongs to a power so much greater than me. And that is why it comes with authority. That is why you can feel it in your body. That is why it resonates so deeply, because it is not coming from me. If it came from me, it would probably bounce off of you. It would feel as if I'm just speaking to your ego and not to your heart. But if you feel it in your heart, if you feel as if your soul is awakening, it is because it is God speaking through me. When I show up for the work that I do, when I channel the angels, when I channel divine spirit for spiritual guidance, for whatever somebody is experiencing, it is not me. Yes, I have been through certain experiences in this world. You would not believe, actually, the experiences that I've been through in this world. And one day I will probably share many, many stories about that. Today is not that day, but the reason why I'm able to understand and resonate with so many people is because I have been through so many experiences in my life that have allowed me to carry that frequency, carry that energy, understand that energy, not so that I can offer you guidance, but so that my mind can make sense of your experience and translate that into an energy, translate divine spirit energy into an energy that you can understand. It is God that speaks through me. It has nothing to do with me. And God energy that speaks through me is speaking to the God energy in you. Even you have God energy moving through you. That is all we are in this world. We are these human vessels. We are these physical bodies, this beautiful, beautiful physical mind, this heart, these energy centers that allow divine spirit to flow through us into this world. When you realize that there is so much that is outside of your control, but there at the same time is so much that is within your control, then you become a co-creation. You become a partnership for God to flow through you. If you want to read tarot, if you want to channel spirit guides, channel the angels, channel goddess energy, all you have to do is recognize that your life experience becomes a co-creation, that the energy that moves through you is working with your human experience. It's working with your mind and with your body to create the magic, to communicate whatever it is you have to share with this world. You carry so much power when you recognize that there is so much power even beyond your control. And it feels so good to surrender into that energy. It makes you realize, oh, I don't have to try so hard. Like, all I have to do is show up and be present. All I have to do is my part. I have to take care of my body. I have to do the things that I know allow me to feel supported, allow me to feel healthy, allow my heart to feel wealthy, allow me to feel in tune and in touch and in love with my body, and allow my mind to feel clear and not distracted, focused and determined. We have the power to create those blueprints in our minds and in our bodies. And many of us were not given that. I was not given that. The way that I speak to this day is so drastically different than even the way that I was showing up, sharing messages 3 years ago. If you go back thousands and thousands and thousands of videos back and look at the first channel messages I ever shared on these platforms, so different. And even just who I have been throughout my life. Like, I came from a family where it was control, it was manipulation, it was dysregulation, it was constant chaos, right? And so I never learned these things until later on in life. And even now, I'm consistently finding ways to continue to expand and continue to learn from every experience. But now I have such a deeper understanding of what it means to reprogram your mind, because we are programmed from the day that we are born and hear the first words out of our parents' mouth. And whatever our body is programmed to also feel means safety or love, or in a lot of cases, neglect and abandonment and lack of safety. And so at some point on the journey, it does become your responsibility. It doesn't mean that it was ever your fault, but it becomes your responsibility because caring for you is a privilege. It's a gift. And a lot of people took advantage of that. A lot of people never saw it that way. But you get the honor and responsibility of seeing it that way. of realizing that it is a gift to be able to care for you. It is a gift to be able to give yourself new ways of thinking and believing and moving through this world. And it can be challenging at times to be able to recognize the old patterns that keep you moving in a same cycle, the old thoughts that keep reappearing that make you feel down or low or interrupt your peace and harmony. It's a challenge. It takes a lot of strength to be able to reflect to that capacity, to recognize those patterns, and not only recognize those patterns, but offer yourself something new. That's insane. You have to give yourself credit where credit is due. That is a superpower in this world, to be able to reprogram your mind, to become somebody new. And for a while, it might be challenging. And there will be times where it is challenging. And then there will be times where it feels like the most empowering and natural thing in this world. And then you get to a point where you have done so much of that work with yourself, so much co-creation with yourself and reprogramming of your body and your mind and the way that you are showing up in this world, that you feel as if you are superhuman, because you are, because you did all of that work. And you deserve to honor yourself and realize how much effort and time and energy it actually took for you to become this person. And you stop resonating with people who don't value you and people who don't recognize how special it is to be in your presence, to be able to share time with you. People lose access to your energy when you get to this point. And you just get to bask. You get to receive the reward of who you have become and the life that you get to experience now because of that. That is why subconscious reprogramming is so incredible. That is why somatic ritual work is so incredible, because it offers you a new way of living, of being, of believing in yourself, of perceiving the world around you. You start to realize that the world is your friend. That even when people treat you poorly, it's because they are poor at heart and has nothing to do with you. People treating you poorly is just a beautiful chance for you to recognize that you treat yourself richly, that you really value